Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. It's all kicking off today, especially on the side of Cloud9. A shocking decision from them being made last night to release their coach in MCE. What are they cooking? A lot of the leakers seem to believe that Cloud9 have completely lost their minds and have no idea what their roster is going to be going forwards, while 100 Thieves are cooking up something special. Loads of massive rumours today. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Now, Ye did tweet about his future. Hello India. Hashtag GE fighting. Now, it does seem to be the general belief right now that Ye does have offers from either EMEA or the Pacific region somewhere. As of yet, we don't really know where. We don't know what teams might be interested. Could it be GE? Possibly. I don't think it's entirely out of the question, but I think it's definitely unlikely. But it seems to me more likely right now that Ye will leave the Americas than stay. Unless, of course, there are good options for Ye elsewhere, which there should be, but we'll get into what those might be in a second. Now, speaking of global esports, Aaron is gone, formerly, of course, of the Exet team. He played on global esports, did a pretty good job, and they've decided to completely blow up their roster effectively, so he's going to be looking for new opportunities. This another one, and I have no idea really whether Aldrone Media have any idea what they're talking about, to be honest. But they do report here, and you know they do have some following at the very least, that Zellsis is going to go to global esports, and maybe there's been a conversation had between those respective teams. It's possible. Global esports we think are definitely going international, but you know, Zellsis says, bro, who said I was going to global esports? So he doesn't seem to believe it, but you never really know with these players, especially when, we'll see in a second, Monyet and others from formerly of global esports, now potentially on PRX, is saying, oh no, don't believe any of this, but actually that is like 99% true. So look, things can change, even if there haven't been conversations between Zellsis and global esports, even if there have been, things could happen, right? And it does seem like this is going to be the year where I would expect to see quite a lot of players from various regions find themselves in other regions' franchise league, because there just isn't that many spots in the Americas. Now, also as of yesterday, we got to see which players' contracts are running out this year according to the global contract database. This is what's happening in the Americas. So Thwifo, Takalia, of course, have Lev. Loud is very interesting though, right? The fact that Sadak, Les, Aspas, Toys, and like basically everyone is free of their contracts. That means they can walk away and go wherever they like. Doesn't mean they will. They can quite possibly stay, but you know, a lot of these guys are now free of their deals. They could be re-signed. Most of them might be re-signed, even though not the case of Takalia, we believe. And yeah, Loud, Sadak, lots of questions there. Aspas, lots of questions there as well. This is a similar story here in the Pacific region with players that have been removed from their respective database. As I say, doesn't mean they're not going to come back, but we will see in a second if a Cigarettes that he is going to be gone from their roster in a kind of crazy fashion. And this is maybe the most interesting one spotted here from Fnatic. So Mini, the head coach of Fnatic, has actually been spotted as being, his contract is at an end. It finished at the end of the season, and therefore, as of right now, he's not under contract anymore, to our understanding. I would be very surprised if they parted ways with Mini. I don't really see why they would. I imagine they're negotiating a new deal, potentially going forwards. But then you've got to wonder, why wouldn't they have done that slightly earlier in the season so that, you know, he would be extended as of now? Maybe they just want to save a bit of money and re-sign him in a couple of months' time. I don't know. But definitely that's an interesting one to keep your eyes on. Now, we mentioned Cigarettes a second ago. Getting back to the Pacific region, Talon Esports confirmed that Fox and Sushi Boys are going to be gone from the team. So lots of announcements coming out like this at the moment. And then we've got this one from PRX. So we saw yesterday this account talked about it, and I was like, you know what? This sounds reasonable, because we'd heard this player linked to PRX and people were like, yeah, he was best player maybe on GE, deserving of a spot on that PRX roster. But it still seems a little bit surprising at the time. And Monyet then says, nice bait, nice bait. So, you know, when you see this in players, it might be true, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a very good chance it is true, especially when really good sources then come out and say, like, yeah, you know, Alejandro, Bo, they both say this is done. A verbal agreement is in place. It's not maybe signed yet. The deal might not be pen to paper, but Monyet's the man that PRX wants. It would also mean, if this happens, with Jing going away, of course, on military service in Singapore, that PRX, a Singaporean organization, will have no Singaporean players left, which is maybe kind of a shame, but it is what it's going to be. So yeah, Monyet apparently to PRX, he was one of their targets for some time, and he's going to be the replacement. Very promising player, absolutely. We'll see if he fits into their system well, but that's the current belief. Global Esports and PRX to reach an agreement, and Blaze King to Global Esports as well is seemingly on the cards. So lots of moving parts at the moment. Now, Cigarette, a player that stepped in for something at Masters Tokyo, did really well, ended some of the hopes and dreams of a player like Som as a content creator, has decided that he's just going to call it a day, which is pretty, Chad energy, to be honest, just to step in and play in the way that he did and then just say, you know what, I'm going to call it a day, not be a sub anymore, not extend my contract, and just going back to being a content creator full time. Very impressive from this guy, wishing him the best, absolutely. Had a great tenure, but yeah, no longer on PRX going forwards is Cigarettes. This is then where we get back to the Americas, because Bodok comes out with his updated tier list on what the rosters are doing. Not how necessarily good they're going to be, but, in different categories. For example, Sentinels, Heretics, Na'Vi, PRX, and Secret apparently have almost finalized their team. No changes for Fnatic, Gentlemate, and DRX apparently. Talon, info to come, but we'll get back as well to 100 Thieves, where he says, I don't know how they got this roster. I don't know what that entails, but that's very interesting. The Cloud9 one, though, is what we've got to dive into detail here on today, because, as he says, trolling absolute buffoons. What are Cloud9 cooking? What are they playing at? And, we even have this from Flynn. Yeah, it ain't looking good. So I don't know what Cloud9 are doing. I mean, we've heard at the start, it was an absolute mess at the start of the season when Ye was gone and when Vanity was gone, and they were like, oh, role issues, and now they still say, oh, no, it was role issues after all, there's no buddy issues here and everything. And let's not forget, the rumor was that they weren't even going to be in the Partnership League until G2 got kicked out, and then I think Cloud9 were the replacement. Might be wrong about that, but anyway, they were kind of on the borderline. So as of yesterday, Rooney is gone. It's official that Rooney out of Cloud9. We believe this is also the case with Leaf and with Zellsis. I think Zellsis actually confirmed it as well. But yeah, Rooney says yesterday officially that his time has come to an end, unfortunately come to an end. So, I guess he wanted to stay. I think Rooney did a really good job, to be honest. Can they upgrade from him? Sure, I'm sure they think that they can. But if they're only paying minimums, maybe not. It's a little bit difficult to say as it stands. This, though, is the big one, because over the last few days, we have discussed in quite some detail that they're keeping Jake, right, in their team, who replaced Ye, and they're keeping MCE, their coach. That made sense. But now MCE is gone, and this seems to be kind of out of nowhere, because MCE has, at least it appears this way, been working quite closely with the team over the last couple of weeks since the World Championship to figure out what their roster's going to be, who are they going to sign, trialing new players, and now they've fired him. I don't know why they fired him. I don't know if this was the plan all along, because usually if that's the plan, they would fire him like straight after champs. But maybe whatever is going on over Cloud9 behind the scenes don't feel like the team that Matthew Elmore's trying to build is any good. So they're getting rid of him. As he says, they're no longer moving forward with him. So he's looking for, head coach, assistant coach, even collegiate roles, willing to relocate. So I think that he should get picked up somewhere. But it's like, damn, what exactly are Cloud9 playing at right now? What do they do with their roster? We just don't know right now, because the big rumor was that it was going to be, MCE, Jake, and then plus Oxy, BTJ, Flyer, Screwface, Shazam, Narrate. I wouldn't really know, but something like that anyway. And now MCE is gone. So I don't know what Cloud9 are doing, but the general feeling is like they don't know what they're doing, and it doesn't seem like maybe some of these players they won't sign, or they simply don't know. I don't really understand what's going on with Cloud9, but to make a decision like this, where you fire your coach like 2 or 3 weeks after he's been trying to build rosters for you, does not seem like a recipe for success. We also have to discuss, though, the other part of the puzzle, which was 100 Thieves. What are they cooking? Now, these spreadsheets from Flynn, on some of the teams, they're going to be super up-to-date. On some of the teams, they're going to be a little bit out-of-date. He can't keep up with everything spectacularly, and we'll get on to Aspas in a second. Simply impossible to do. But what does Bodok think that 100 Thieves are doing? Because, as he says, I don't know how they got this roster, which kind of implies that they know what they're going to do. Now, it might not be for sure, but that implies good, right? I mean, it's the top of the list. That implies they've done something very impressive at 100 Thieves. And I would imagine that that's keeping Cryo and Asuna. Of course, we've heard about Flyer. And this is the thing. If Flyer to Cloud9 was going to happen, but now Cloud9 are going through massive drama, then maybe Flyer to 100 Thieves is an option. Xander as well has been talked about. And, but what type of player would make Bodork say, I don't know how they got this team. That kind of sounds to me like they've signed a real, or at least having conversation with a real heavy hitter. You know, we still don't see Ye anywhere on these lists. I will say though that Aspas has been spotted on the updated version of this as of yesterday. Aspas was spotted on the Bleed Esports potential roster. Bleed Esports have a lot of money. They made it through the Ascension side, right, to qualify for the Pacific, and this is now where he's gone. So it might not happen, right? He might stay on Loud, he might go somewhere else. But according to the latest update that we have as a recording, Aspas's likelihood on Loud has been reduced to unlikely to stay and has been put on Bleed as, you know, a possibility at the very least. And this probably, if that is the case, won't be the last that we hear of things like that happening. Now, another big update as well here from Tex, formerly of the Guard. We believe he's having conversations with NRG, that he is a player in conversation to join. But G2, it seems, ex the Guard, are basically dropping him, which is surprising, I would say. It's unfortunate for Tex, absolutely. But as he says, my time with the Guard is coming to an end. After we won Ascension, I can safely say I elevate any team's gameplay, looking to provide structure needed for winning formula. I'll be looking for a new team under the Duelist Sentinel role. So this doesn't sound like he's got a new team. This sounds like he's effectively been dropped and is looking for a new team. And this also doesn't sound like he's left, you know. It's like, you know, if he's decided to leave and join NRG, you'd think he would have said that, you know what, I've decided to part ways with the Guard guys. But he doesn't say that. He says that my time's come to an end. Maybe you can read into it different ways. But the way this reads is like, yeah, I've been dropped and I'm looking for a new team. And if that's the case, that is surprising because G2, Jonah P, Trent, Valin, Net, we think they're all going to stay as a quartet. So, but they're apparently dropping Tex potentially for Leaf. Leaf has been the player that's been linked there. But yeah, that is somewhat surprising. We don't really know what the reasons behind that are. But you would think that if G2, if formerly the Guard players were able to get a team of 5 somewhere, they would be quite keen to keep that roster. But maybe they feel like they can upgrade from Tex, or Tex has just decided to leave because he has the NRG offer, which is also possible. But if that doesn't end up going through, then he finds himself in something of a predicament. Now, just speaking of 100 Thieves before we close out here, Zellsis did tweet this out. Zellsis on Sentinel, Flyer on Initiator, Xander on Smokes, Asuna Flex, Cryo Duelist. And this, I don't know if this is going to be Zekken 2.0. You guys remember Zekken last year straight up just leaked the NRG roster. People thought he was joking about it because, you know, he'd made up a load of rosters, but then he actually leaked the real one. I don't think Zellsis is doing that, but you know, as I said, if Flyer maybe not to Cloud9, then Flyer, Xander, Asuna, Cryo is a very good team of 4. +1, which could be Zellsis, might not be. So that is a massive one to look at. But those are the updates as of right now. I'll be back in business tomorrow, of course, with more updates. And maybe later today, it depends. If there's crazy stuff that happens, there'll be an emergency video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. You guys know the drill. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.